Good afternoon. Hello. Great Tuesday afternoon. I hope you are having a fantastic Tuesday. I have had a very busy day today, but my afternoon freed up. So I decided that I wanted to go live. I actually had planned to go live yesterday, but for those of you who don't know, I got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine on Friday morning, and your girl has been down. It took me out for a couple of days. I had fever and just extreme fatigue, and I just didn't have it in me. And so, but I am back in full effect, and I am so excited to have an opportunity to hop on and share live with you all today. So if you are here, hey, Katrina, welcome on in. So great to have you with me today. I am excited. I'm excited. So for those of you who don't know me, if you don't know me, let me introduce myself. My name is Trasetta Alexander, and I am a business productivity coach. And what that means, what I do is I work with corporate women who are really wanting to ditch that 9 to 5 because they're overworked, overwhelmed, and underpaid. And they want to ditch that 9 to 5 by monetizing their expertise, a coach or a consultant. And so I partner with them to help them to increase their productivity or increase their profitability in their business by maximizing their productivity. That's right. I help them get their whole calendar life together so that they can be their most productive selves and be profitable in the process. In fact, I recently made the transition into full-time entrepreneurship after working for Florida State University College of Medicine for about 8.5 years. Actually, almost exactly 8.5 years. I started working for them on June 10th, 2012, and left. My last day at FSU was December 10th, 2020. And part of the reason why I made that transition from full-time, working a 9 to 5 full-time into full-time entrepreneurship is because I had maxed out my capacity. I just did not have room to do not one more thing. My business was growing, I was in demand, and I just could not do both any longer. My capacity was maxed out. Let me just tell you. Which brings me to the topic that I want to share on today, which is the dangers of working over your capacity. Because let's face it, we live in a world that says work, hustle. If you're not grinding, then lazy, you're not doing the thing, you're not going to be successful. Success only comes through grinding. Success only comes hustling. Success only through burning the candle at both ends. And I'm here to tell you that just is not the case. You do not have to live the hustle and grind life in order to be successful, in order for you to have the abundance you desire, in order to have the financial freedom that you desire, in order to have the lifestyle that you desire, whether that is vacations, more time with your family, whatever that looks like for you, you do not have to hustle and grind your way to it. And the majority of us are actually working in a place where we are working beyond our capacity. I recently read this quote, or I was reading a book and I read this in the book, and I want to share this quote with you. And I'm going to read it so that I don't mess it up. But the quote says that working without breaks is like taking in a breath, but never exhaling. I'm going to read that again. Working without breaks is like taking in a breath, but never exhaling. That's crazy. We would never do that. In fact, our bodies won't even allow us to do that. If we take in a breath and hold it, before long, our body involuntarily is going to force us to breathe. But many of us are working in that same way where we're not taking breaks. We're working hours and hours and hours and hours without taking the time to step away, decompress, exhale, so that we can take in more and do more. Right? Before I joined FSU, I worked for a home health agency, and that was the kind of work life that I had. I worked the 50 some, I think like 55 plus hours a week life. That's what my norm was when I worked for that organization. I had 11 plus hour days. I was at the office at 7:30 in the morning, 7:45 at the latest, and I was there until 6, 7, 8, sometimes 9 o'clock at night. Consistently. I worked at least 2 Saturdays a weekend for about 2 to 4 hours in order to try and keep up with the workload. Because we were a home health agency, I had clinicians who would need supplies, and part of my job as the operations manager was to ensure that we had to basically run our supply room. And when we're on call, sometimes they had supplies, and whoever the call nurse was would contact me frequently to go and let one of our clinicians in to get supplies. But I wasn't on call. I wasn't getting paid to be on call, but they knew I lived just like 2 or 3 miles from the office, so I could be in the office in 5 minutes and get whatever was needed. So that they would call me, and I wasn't being compensated for that. I might get a call 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night to go to the office to get some supplies for someone. I already said I worked Saturday, most Saturdays, at least 2 Saturdays a month I went in. I was salaried. So no matter how many hours I worked, I still got paid the same amount of money. So I wasn't required to work on Saturdays, but that's what I did in order to try and stay on top of my job. I used my lunch break, right? I used my lunch break to go pick up my daughter from school and either drop her off at home or bring her to my office. I had a little desk for her in my office. So I didn't really take a true lunch break. I ate my lunch sitting at my desk while I worked. Who wants to live like that? No one. And it's even worse right now because I know some people are starting to return to office, but many people are still working from home. Some people will never go into an office because companies have restructured the way that they do business. And the lines are even more blurred because you're working from home. You're always on, right? Because your office is also your home. So you're checking emails like, oh, really quick, let's check check my emails before I go to bed. And so those lines are even more blurred. We don't have boundaries in our work life. And what happens when we do that, just like taking in that breath, but never exhaling. And here's the thing, work keeps coming at us at a faster and faster rate. Matter of fact, faster than it can be processed. I know it was like that for me when I worked for the home health agency. In fact, I know that I was working the amount of work I had, or the workload that I had, was enough for at least a half of, a part-time person. I would venture to say that 2 people could have done the amount of work that I had done, and it still would have been a stretch. We wouldn't have been leisure time with our feet kicked up, shooting the breeze. We still would have had like boots on the ground trying to get it done consistently if there had been 2 of me. And again, if you keep working in that kind of style, if you keep working in that manner, before long, you are going to burn out. I don't know how many, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to pull up the comments really quickly. Let me know in the comments if you have ever driven a manual shift vehicle. And if when you put the vehicle in gear, let's say you put it in first gear, and you get to the place where that first gear, you've gone as fast as that first gear will take you, the engine, or I should say, as you get to the capacity of that gear, the engine starts to go, it gets this really, really high pitched sound as you are nearing the capacity. And that kind of lets you know also that it's time for you to shift into the next gear. And a lot of us, we have one gear, right? We can't shift into high gear or low gear or whatever. We have one gear. We have one setting, right? And a lot of us are going around driving through the highway of life or the highway of work life like we're trying to do 80 in first gear. And that just ain't gonna work. You're gonna tear up your engine trying to drive like that. It's gonna sound like like your vehicle's gonna explode. And that's what happens when you work like that, when you don't have boundaries in your work, when you don't manage your energy in your work. What happens is you will eventually burn out. You're going to burn out your engine. What's our engine as humans? You're going to burn out your heart. That's when stress comes in. That's when you start having ulcers and digestive issues. That's when migraines are coming in. That's when you start experiencing all different types of physical dis-ease, right? Notice I said dis-ease, as well as diseases, because you are trying to force your body to do something that it was never designed to do. In fact, I recently read, I'll have to see if I can go find the research so that I can actually quote the source, but I recently read this study, or the report from a study that was done about optimal work hours. And ideally, for peak performance, we should work no more than 30 hours per week. But 35 max, like 30 is ideal. 35, you can do 35. Once you go beyond 35, you start hitting the law of diminishing returns, where it actually starts to put a strain on you physically rather than you being more productive, right? Working more hours does not equal more productivity, what a lot of people think, but that's just not the case. So I don't want you to continue to work in that fashion. I don't want you to think that you have to keep working more and more hours, whether you are working full-time, whether you already own your own business and are working full-time in your business, or if you're straddling the fence, you're working full-time and you are in the process of building a side business that you want to replace the income that you're getting from your 9-to-5 so that you can do that and be more in control of your time. And I'm not going to get into like how to actually make that work, because I do have strategies. That's one of the things that I teach, is how to manage your time so that you can do both and not lose your mind, not overwork yourself, and still be successful, right? I do teach that, but that's not what I want to focus on today. Today, what I want to focus on is giving you some strategies for managing your energy so that you can be productive and not burn yourself out. Before I get into, I have 7 tips for you, but before I get into that, I want to give you some real world examples of what working like that can do physically. I'll start with my dear friend, Dr. Lacey Robbins, who is my business bestie. She shares this story about how she was working so hard, working so many hours, and actually passed out because she was so physically fatigued that she passed out in a board meeting and woke up, right? Woke up with everyone standing over her, right? Ariana Huffington launched her company, Thrive. I think it's Thrive Group or Thrive Co. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, she launched it to help break this mindset that you have to hustle in order to be successful, because she had a situation where she was overworked. She wasn't sleeping. She was burning the candle at both ends and passed out at work and woke up in the hospital. Listen, it is dangerous to work beyond capacity. It is physically dangerous for you to do that. Again, that's why I teach my clients to manage their energy and their schedule around their peak hours so that they can be productive without overtaxing themselves. So, like I said, I have 7 tips for you on how you can manage your energy. The very first one is basic. It's really basic. Just sleep more. There's a couple things that I really enjoy in life. One is the beach. I live in Florida because I am a beach girl. Two is food. I am definitely a foodie. I love to eat. Matter of fact, I was skipping down the hallway last night to the kitchen with glee and joy, talking about I love food. And my husband was laughing at me. And the thing is sleep. You need to sleep more. In fact, I was recently reading this article where they were saying that sleep is actually more important than food. Sleep is more important to your body than food is. If you skip meals, if you don't eat, you're going to lose weight. Now, granted, you not eat for an extended period of time before you start having some serious physical issues around that. But you can't go days without sleeping and not see the physical ramifications of it. Because what happens is the way our bodies are designed, if you don't get enough sleep, you then start going into delirium. I don't know about you. Have you ever stayed up for 24, 36 hours and you just start, you don't make sense anymore. You start saying really crazy stuff. Everything is funny. You just don't nothing makes sense to you anymore. And it's because you are delirious. Your brain cannot function because it has not had the opportunity to rest, to reset. In fact, according to the study, only 1 in 40 people feels fully rested with less than 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. 1 in 40. Think about all the people who are on the planet. Only 1 in 40. 1 in 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer. So sleep. You need to get sleep. Do whatever it is that you need to do to adjust your schedule so that you are getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Next, my second tip. Work in 90-minute cycles. That, according to research, 90 minutes is the maximum of a maximum amount of time we can have focused time before we need a real break. So schedule your focus time in 90-minute segments. Work or a maximum of 90 minutes, right? So work for 90 minutes and then you need to take a break. It doesn't have to be long, but you need to take at least, I would say if you're going to go straight 90 minutes, then you need to take at least a 15-minute break. But by By doing that, then you can actually work at your peak performance. My third tip is to align your work with natural energy rhythm. Each of us has a rhythm, right? We have certain times of the day when we are more energetic than we are at times of the day. And it's going to be different for each person. For morning people, typically that's going to be first thing in the morning is when you have your most energy, and then you might have another burst of energy later in the day. For night owls, it might be 11 p.m. between the hours of 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. or something like that. Whatever the case may be, I encourage my clients to do a time audit, a time and energy audit, kind of keep track of how you feel throughout the day. Notice when you have those lulls in your energy throughout the day, when you're grabbing for the sweet treat, when you're grabbing for the coffee. Notice those times when you're needing that, or when you just can't seem to focus, or you can't seem to get it together. Notice those, take note of those times, and also take note of times when you are in the zone, when you are flowing, you are just cranking things out. You're just working, and you can get things done. When you are doing that, that gives you, and you notice those time periods, then schedule tasks that require the most focus and energy for during those times, and the things that don't really require as much focus and during the times when you have those lulls in the day. For example, for me, I am a morning person. I get my best work done by 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. If I need to write anything, if I need to do any content, if I need to do anything that requires like true focus for me to be all in, it's going to be done before 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to schedule to get it done. I am not going to schedule that for 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because by then I am done. Like mentally, it's not going to happen. I'm going to be thinking of all kinds of other things that I could be doing. Facebook, scrolling on social media or TikTok or whatever is going to grab my attention. Playing a game, watching TV, something else is going to grab my attention, because I just don't have the energy and I don't have the willpower to keep myself from going to it. So align the work that you do, align your task with when you have the most energy in your day. Let's see, which one was that? That was 3. Number 4. This one kind of goes in line with the 90-minute working cycle, that is to take breaks often. Short breaks. Take short breaks often. I like to call them strategic pauses, where you just take a moment to just kind of step away from your work so that you can, kind of reset your brain. One of the things that I used to do when I worked in the office, when I was still working full-time for Florida State, I kept on an hourly alarm, and every hour on the hour, an alarm would go off to remind me to take a quick break. And literally all I would do is, if I was in the middle of something, I would just finish up whatever I was doing, and then as soon as I would finish, I would just stand up. I might stretch. I might go get something to drink. I might go to the bathroom, whatever, but it was just something simple, and then I go right back to work. That's just so that you get that mental reset so that you can stay fresh and stay focused. Tip number 5 is to change your sleep routine. Now, I kind of touched on this earlier when I was talking about sleep, how sleep is more important than food, but it's really important for you to find your sweet spot. So when is the ideal or optimal time for you to go to bed at night and get up in the morning where you feel you're most refreshed? It's going to be different for everyone. For me, I like to go to bed between, I'm in the bed ready to go to bed around 10. So I'm usually asleep by 10:30, sometimes 11 on a typical night. But I'm awake. Like my alarm goes off at 6, but I'm typically awake before the alarm goes off. I usually wake up about 5:30 or so. And when I wake up, I'm not tired. I'm not groggy. I'm not drowsy. I have full energy, and I know I can go take on the day. And matter of fact, I go and I have a whole routine that I do first thing in the morning to help me set my intention for the day and set myself up for success for the day. So by having some sort of sleep routine, will be helpful. This might be, if you have trouble going to bed at night, create a routine that goes along with your bedtime. So maybe it's that every night you go and you wash your face and brush your teeth and you read for 15 minutes or so, and then lights out and you go to bed. Eventually you will train your body, but you have to do the same time every day. Be consistent in what time you get up, time you go to bed every single day, even if it's the weekend. Because what I do is if I'm still tired after I get up and do my morning routine, then I just go lay back down and take a nap. But you can retrain your body to actually wake up and be very energetic, and it won't be hard for you to go to bed. It won't be hard for you to get up once you have programmed your body to that, whatever that time range is for you. And there's all kinds of apps that can track your sleep and really help you to work through that. Tip number 6 is to schedule device or screen-free time daily. Set aside a little bit of time. It doesn't have to be a lot. If you are addicted to your phone or addicted to your devices, find time. Start with just 15 minutes where you're just going to be device free, where you're not gonna be watching TV. You're not going to be on your phone or your laptop or your iPad, whatever device. You're not going to be doing any type of electronics. Sit down with an actual book. Remember those, the paper books? Sit down with a book and read, or play a game with your family. Go for a walk. Do something else. Schedule at least 15 minutes a day, and then build up to more time as you can. This will help to reduce that screen fatigue, especially right now. So many people are having all these Zoom meetings. We're not meeting in person as much anymore, and screen fatigue is real. So this will help you give yourself a break. Plus it gives your eyes an opportunity to rest as well. And then tip number 7, my last tip, is to do your most important task first, right? So at the beginning of the day, identify one task that if you do that one thing, it's going to make the rest of your day easier, or some of the other things on your to-do list obsolete, where you don't even have to worry about them because you did this one thing, either easier or obsolete. And do that thing first. Why? Because when you first get up, whatever time you get up, you have the most energy and willpower when you first get up. So by doing that important thing or most important task first, you've gotten it out of the way, and that leaves room for then you can get everything else done. When we push off the thing that's most important, or that big task, till the end of the day, now we're tired. We've got distractions and our willpower is low. So then we are more susceptible or likely to push that thing off, to procrastinate and do something else rather than the thing that we really need to be working on. So those are my 7 tips for how to manage your energy so that you don't continue to operate beyond your capacity and burn out. And I'll just run back through those really, really quickly. Tip number 1 was to sleep more, because sleep is more important than food. To work in 90-minute cycles for peak performance. Number 3 was to align your work with your natural energy rhythm. Tip number 4 was to take short breaks often. Tip number 5 was to change your sleep routine and actually create a routine to help you get to bed, get to sleep faster and stay asleep. Tip number 6 was to schedule device or screen-free time on a daily basis. And lastly, tip number 7, do your most important task first. So let me know in the comments which one of these tips you plan to try out. Which ones do you plan to try out? I'm really curious. Yes, the eat that frog. That's one of the ones I talk about all the time. And if you're not familiar with the Eat the Frog, that came about it's it's attributed to Mark Twain, who said that if you eat a frog first thing in the morning, it's most likely the worst thing that you're going to have to deal with for the day. So it's kind of like this worst things first, right? So most important thing, eat that frog. Definitely. I love it. Anyone have any questions? Also, if you are watching, you're just hopping in or you're watching the replay, let me know that you're watching the replay. Katrina says that the one that really hit her the most, or she's going to try, is taking that brief break every hour. Yes, that's there. It's really helpful to regain your energy, to get that reset, that mental reset, by taking those strategic pauses. Like I said, a really good thing to do is to stretch. That helps to, because you've been sitting for a long period of time, and your body needs, your muscles tend to stiffen up. So it's really easy for you to get stiff and then fatigue. So by taking that break and stretching, you don't have to, I'm not saying that you got to get all on the floor and do splits and all that, but just, stretching your arms, stretching your back, especially do lunges are really good for stretching those hip flexor muscles, because that's what really locks up from sitting for long periods of time. Let's see. We have someone says that they're talking about working in the 90-minute increments. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is our peak performance. And then someone else is saying aligning work with energy levels. Yes. Yes. We all get the same 24 hours in a day, the same 7 days a week, but every single hour does not hold the same value. Some hours are more valuable than others, and you need to learn when your most valuable hours are, so that you can schedule your most important work during those times. Think about your time or each hour of the day as real estate. So there's more desirable or more valuable real estate than there are others. And so by they say location. Think that same concept for your time. What's the time location where you have the most energy, right? The higher level of energy, high levels of willpower, those are highly valuable, because that's when you're focused. There's 3 key components to productivity. I call it the productivity pyramid. You've got time, which is your foundation, right? We all have that. Then it's your energy. Once you have the time, you also have to have the energy to get it done. And then at the top of that pyramid is focus or attention, right? You need time, focus or attention to actually do the thing that you want, are needed to get done. So awesome. I'm so glad that you were able to find some value, find some tips that I was able to share with you, some tips to help you be more productive and get things done. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you want more content like this, I definitely want to encourage you to join me inside my Facebook group, Purpose, Productive, and Profitable, right here. For those of you who are watching on Facebook, right here on Facebook. If you're watching me, I am also streaming this to YouTube live. Then head on over to Facebook and search for my private Facebook group. Again, that is Purposed, Productive, and Profitable. And we would love to have you inside. We're a small community of ambitious women who are on a mission to live out our purpose through entrepreneurship. And we want to do that and be productive, but also be profitable at the same time. So I hope to see you on the inside of there. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. And if this has been beneficial to you, please tag someone, share this with a friend, share this with someone who you think would find it beneficial. It would be the greatest compliment to me. So, all right, that's all I have for you. I will see you all next week. Have a great rest of your day.